Life will hand you setbacks. Life will give you pain. Life will test you when you least expect it. But the truth remains simple. There is no excuse for not trying. You may not control where you start, but you control how far you go. Too many people wait for perfect conditions, wait for approval, wait for guarantees. But success doesn't wait. If you want your life to change, you must show up and try, even when it's hard, even when it's scary, even when you feel unprepared. If you can breathe, you can try. If you can stand, you can try. If you can dream, you can try. And once you try, doors will open that you never imagined. Trying costs less than regret. Every day you have a choice. The cost of trying or the cost of regret. Trying may leave you tired, sore, and even disappointed. But regret will eat at your soul for the rest of your life. People convince themselves it's safer not to try. But what's safe about waking up 10 years from now, wishing you had started? That's the heaviest bill you'll ever pay. The bill of wasted time. Trying will stretch you. It will test your patience. It might even knock you down, but trying leaves you with peace. Peace that says, at least I gave it my all. Regret, on the other hand, is a shadow that never leaves. You can ignore it during the day, but it whispers at night, you should have tried. The truth is, effort doesn't bankrupt you. It grows you. Regret bankrupts your spirit. That's why you've got to stop protecting yourself from failure and start protecting yourself from regret. Life rewards effort. Even if the effort doesn't give you the result you wanted, it gives you the lesson you needed. That lesson becomes wisdom, and wisdom becomes fuel. Regret teaches you nothing except how to cry about what you didn't do. The moment you start trying, you realize that the cost wasn't that bad. The pain wasn't as permanent as you thought. The mountain wasn't as high as you imagined. The only thing worse than failing is knowing you never tried in the first place. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than they've succeeded. But they don't regret trying. They regret the times they didn't. When you try, you get bruises. When you don't try, you get chains. Chains of what if, chains of maybe, chains of I should have. And those chains weigh more than any struggle you'd face while trying. The cost of regret is paid daily for years. The cost of trying is temporary. Which would you rather pay? Don't let fear convince you that regret is cheaper. That's a lie fear tells to keep you comfortable. Be bold enough to pay the small price of effort today, so you don't have to pay the lifetime debt of regret tomorrow. Excuses don't build futures. Excuses sound good, but they don't build anything. Excuses are like bricks made of sand. They crumble the moment pressure hits. A future worth living requires foundation, and the foundation is built with action, not reasons why you couldn't. Every time you give an excuse, you trade your progress for comfort. And that's a terrible trade. People will tell you, I didn't have the chance. I didn't have the support. I didn't have the tools. But the truth is, someone with less than you, with fewer resources than you, is still out there making it happen. Excuses build walls. Effort builds doors. Which one are you choosing? The people who get far in life aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who refused to let excuses rule them. An excuse might make you feel better today, but it won't give you a better tomorrow. You can't build a future on reasons. You can only build a future on results. And results don't care about how tired you are, how unfair life is, or how scared you feel. Results show up for the ones who do. Excuses are a language of defeat. Effort is the language of destiny. You've got to stop speaking excuses over your life, because words turn into patterns, and patterns turn into your reality. Look around. Every building, every invention, every achievement you see was made by someone who refused to let excuses stop them. They could have said, it's too risky, it's too hard, it's too much, but instead they said, I'll try anyway. The moment you silence your excuses, you start hearing your possibilities. And when possibilities speak louder than excuses, The future you dream of starts becoming the future you live. You don't have to be ready. You just have to start. People waste years of their life waiting to feel ready. But here's the truth. You'll never feel fully ready. Readiness is an illusion. There will always be a reason to wait, always a reason to hesitate. But the door doesn't open for those who wait. It opens for those who knock. When you start before you're ready, you give yourself a gift. That gift is growth. You learn on the way, not before the way. You become ready by doing, not by waiting. Too many people hold back because they're afraid of looking foolish. But the only foolishness is sitting still while your life passes by. Starting small is still starting. Progress loves movement. Life honors courage, not hesitation. Think about a seed. It doesn't wait until it feels ready to push through the soil. It just pushes. That's why it grows. You'll stumble. You'll make mistakes. But those stumbles are part of your readiness. Every time you step forward unprepared, you become more prepared than the ones who never moved. Waiting for readiness is procrastination in disguise. It's comfort dressed as wisdom. The world doesn't ask if you're ready. It asks if you're willing. Willingness is stronger than readiness. Willingness says, I don't know everything, but I'll figure it out. The great lives are lived by people who started unprepared but finished unstoppable. And the only way they got there was by daring to take the first step without waiting for permission. Failure is proof you tried. People fear failure, but failure is nothing to be ashamed of. It's a badge of honor. Failure proves you had the courage to step out and take a swing. The only ones who never fail are the ones who never try. And that's not living, that's existing. Failure is not the enemy. Fear of failure is. Fear keeps you paralyzed. Failure keeps you learning. Every failure is a classroom. Every setback is a teacher. Every mistake is a map that points you closer to success. The most dangerous place to be is in the comfort zone where failure never visits, because that means growth never visits either. Failure means you're alive, you're daring, you're reaching. And sometimes failure is just life's way of rerouting you to something better. The strongest people in the world didn't get strong by winning every time. They got strong by failing and refusing to quit. You don't need to be embarrassed by your failures. Wear them proudly because they show the world you tried. People will laugh at your failures, but those same people will clap when your persistence brings success. Failure humbles you. Failure shapes you. Failure reminds you that you are human, but also that you are resilient. Every scar has a story, and behind every story is someone who dared to try. Don't fear failure. Fear the life you'll have if you never attempt anything worth failing at. Failure isn't final. It's simply proof that you had the heart to try. Consistency beats talent when talent won't try. Talent is a gift, but consistency is a weapon. Too many talented people never reach greatness because they rely on talent alone. Consistency doesn't care about natural ability. Consistency says, I'll show up, I'll work, I'll grind, and I'll improve. You can outwork the most gifted person if they refuse to stay disciplined, because discipline will always go further than raw skill. Some of the most talented people you know are sitting at home, talking about what they could have done. Meanwhile, someone with less talent is living the dream because they kept showing up. Talent might give you a head start, but consistency will take you to the finish line. When you show up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, you separate yourself from the crowd. Talent is flashy. Consistency is quiet, but consistency wins the long game. Think about water dripping on stone. Slow, steady, relentless. Over time, that stone breaks. That's what consistency does. You don't need to be the best today. You just need to be present today, and tomorrow, and the next day. Small efforts, multiplied over time, create unstoppable momentum. That's why consistency matters more than talent. talent can get distracted. Talent can get lazy, but consistency builds habits too strong to break. Every time you practice, every time you commit, every time you stay steady, you're building muscle memory for success. And when the talented person finally wakes up, they'll realize the consistent one already passed them by. Life rewards endurance. Life honors the ones who don't quit. Talent fades when it's neglected, but consistency grows stronger the longer it's practiced. That's why if you can't be the most talented, be the most consistent. Because consistency will always close the gap. Effort attracts opportunity. Opportunity has a funny way of showing up for the people who are moving. It doesn't knock on doors that stay closed. Effort is like a magnet. It pulls opportunities your way. When people see your dedication, when life sees your hustle, doors start to open. You don't have to chase every opportunity if you're putting in the work. Sometimes the work makes opportunity chase you. Employers, mentors, partners, investors, they all notice effort. They may not say it immediately, but they're watching. The harder you work, the louder your effort speaks, and the more likely it is to reach the ears of someone who can change your life. Some people complain that they never get opportunities, but they never put themselves in motion. You can't win the race if you never enter the track. Effort is evidence. Evidence that you're serious. Evidence that you're worth betting on. Life doesn't reward want. Life rewards work. Everyone wants more, but only those who put in effort get more. The universe has a principle. It meets you halfway. You move, it moves. You stay still, it stays silent. Don't underestimate how far consistent effort can reach. Somebody you don't even know might be watching, waiting for the right moment to extend an opportunity because of the way you show up. Effort doesn't guarantee opportunity today, but it guarantees that when the door does open, you'll be ready to walk through it. Every rep in the gym, every late night studying, every hour spent honing your craft, it's all an investment. An opportunity always pays back investors. People love to help people who help themselves. That's why effort matters. It sends a signal that you're ready to handle bigger blessings. Effort isn't glamorous, but it's magnetic. And sooner or later, what you've been attracting will find its way to you. So don't stop giving your best, even when no one is clapping yet. Because effort has a way of inviting the opportunities that applause could never bring. You owe it to yourself to try too often. We live our lives trying to please everyone else, forgetting that we owe the first and deepest commitment to ourselves. You don't owe it to your critics. You don't owe it to the doubters. You owe it to the person in the mirror. That person has dreams, desires, and potential, and if you refuse to try, you're betraying yourself. You may think you're avoiding pain by not trying, but what you're really doing is robbing yourself of the chance to live fully. When you try, you're telling yourself, I am worthy of this effort. I believe in me enough to give me a shot. That self-belief is priceless. Nobody else can give it to you. You've got to give it to yourself. Trying is an act of self-respect. It's saying, I will not sit back and waste my gifts. I will at least honor them by using them. Even if nobody else claps for you, trying is proof that you clapped for yourself first. The most painful thing is not disappointing others. It's knowing you disappointed yourself. That's why you've got to try. The person you see in the mirror every morning deserves to know that you gave life everything you had. You owe it to that person not to settle for less than what you're capable of. And when you try, even if you fall, you can still look yourself in the eyes with dignity because you didn't quit. People around you may doubt your efforts, but deep down you'll know you stayed loyal to yourself. Trying isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right. And when you finally taste success, you'll know it happened because you paid your debt to the one person who mattered most to you. Trying is the seed of transformation. Nothing changes until you try. Nothing grows until you plant. Nothing transforms until you move. Trying is the seed. It may look small, but inside it is everything you've been dreaming of. A seed doesn't look like a tree, it doesn't look like fruit, but it carries all the potential to become both. In the same way, your first attempt may not look like success, but it carries the potential to become something life-changing. Transformation doesn't start with perfection, it starts with one act of trying. That first act opens the door to possibility. Possibility opens the door to growth. Growth opens the door to transformation. The biggest mistake people make is waiting to see change before they try, but the order is reversed. You must try before you see change. Think of a butterfly. It begins as a caterpillar, and that caterpillar has to struggle in the cocoon. The struggle itself is the transformation. Your trying may feel small right now, but every attempt is you weaving the cocoon of your future. Keep trying, and before long, you'll see wings where there used to be weakness. Transformation is messy. It's uncomfortable, but trying is what activates it. Without trying, nothing shifts. Without trying, life stays the same. The person you want to become is hidden in the actions you've been afraid to take. Every attempt you make waters the seed of transformation inside you, and every drop of effort brings you closer to blooming. Don't underestimate the power of one attempt, because one seed, once planted, has the power to grow into a forest. Ladies and gentlemen, life is not about perfection. It's about participation. It's not about waiting for guarantees. It's about giving what you've got. Every single person in this room has something inside of them that the world needs, but it will never come out if you keep making excuses. We talked about the cost of regret versus the cost of trying. We talked about how excuses can't build a future, how readiness is an illusion, how failure is nothing but proof of courage. We reminded ourselves that consistency beats talent, that effort attracts opportunities, that you owe it to yourself to show up, and that trying is the seed of transformation. Every single one of these truths points back to the same foundation. There is no excuse for not trying. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to know how it's all going to work out. You don't need the perfect plan, the perfect timing, or the perfect support. What you need is to step forward. What you need is to try, because the second you try, you're already ahead of everyone who's still sitting down. Don't live your life in the chains of what if. Don't let your dreams die because you were too afraid to begin. Regret is a heavy burden, but effort is a gift. Trying may be uncomfortable, but regret is unbearable. You cannot afford to live with that weight on your shoulders. So I challenge you today. No more waiting, no more excuses, no more hesitation. Stop protecting yourself from failure, because in protecting yourself from failure, you're protecting yourself from success too. Get up, take the shot, write the book, start the business, chase the dream. Knock on the door, send the application, step into the arena, do the thing you've been putting off, because it's not going to do itself. You may fail, you may fall, you may get laughed at, but at least you'll know you tried. And the beautiful thing is, if you keep trying, you won't just fail, you'll grow. You'll transform, and eventually you will win. So let this be your declaration today. I will try. I will not quit. I will not make excuses. I will give myself a chance. Because when you give yourself that chance, life opens doors you didn't even know existed. And in the end, remember this, the only true failure in life is never trying at all. There is no excuse for not trying.